Miscellaneous minds, never explaining the minds. Devilish grin for my alias, aliens who respond. Peddling sin, thinking maybe when you get old you realize I'm not gonna fold or demise. I don't smoke crack, motherfucker, I sell it.
What is going on, everybody? This is the Miscellaneous Minds podcast. I'm your co-host, Pumo El Gato, the cat that hands you your stupidity back. And to my right over here is the main man, Houston Narrow, the man that makes the fat stacks. Together we form the dynamic duo that won't die. Deadly ideas, brother, and spice your content. They're your girls' only fans.
What is going on, everybody? Before we get into tonight's topic, please make sure to like, comment, hate, subscribe, DM us about the bullshit, and with that, let's get into it. Now, tonight's topic is going to actually be a variety of topics, but it's going to kind of circle around that the internet's being stupid again. The number one thing that popped up in my feed that I thought was a load of horseshit, and I'll be honest with you, I had a little bit of a debate with somebody on my Facebook about this, but I'm going to be honest with you. After I researched it just a little bit more, I'm not gonna lie, it's a little bullshit to me, and even though I don't like to generally agree with this man, I'm gonna give it to him. Kanye, you were right about this one. So, very, very recently, I had seen, and I know it had made its way around the internet for a little bit, but I had seen the TikTok of North, Kim's child, Kanye's child, and she was dancing to a song by Ice Spice. Now, before I had heard the full audio of what she was listening to, a couple people on my feed had said, oh, I don't see the big deal, what's the problem, and you guys are making such a big deal out of nothing, blah, and so forth. So I went and listened to it. Like, listen, look, first of all, let's not pretend that the stuff that Ice Spice talks about shouldn't be heard by a 9-year-old child. But apart from that, there's a part specifically near the end of the song in this TikTok, and it is in the TikTok that North was on, where Ice Spice talks about getting her back blown out by some dude. Now, if this isn't the biggest load of horseshit, I don't know what is. Listen, North is a 9-year-old child. And listen, I, for the most part, am the type of dude where, let parents parent how they want. It is what it is. But I think when we start talking about a child's sexuality at 9 years old, or at least involving them in some manner and where sexuality is being discussed, I don't think it's appropriate. When a child gets much older, they're going to have to deal with all the BS of that and everything that comes with it. But at 9 years old, this child should not be listening to this type of music. And I get it. Kim said, look, I want her to be able to be safe, but at the same time experience life and all that kind of stuff. Listen, I get it. At the same time, the mere fact, forget the fact that she did this TikTok, but the mere fact that this 9-year-old child is listening to the song where Ice Spice is talking about getting her back blown out, not appropriate. Kim admitted a while back that when her children asked her mom, why are you famous? She was going to have a hard time with it. In even one clip, I remember her crying. Why, if that's the case, why are you condoning your child going down a similar path by listening to this type of music? The mere fact that Kylie Jenner, at a very young age, but before she was an adult, was already being sexualized by her family, mind you, is a travesty. But North is a 9-year-old child. And the fact that, I get it, man, Kim and Kanye had to get a divorce. I don't even blame Kim for getting a divorce, even though generally speaking, I think these things should be, at least, you should go to therapy, you should go to counseling, so on and so forth. But I don't blame Kim, because for a while there, Kanye was acting very, very erratically. But with that being said, letting this 9-year-old child, again, being on TikTok to this dance where this woman is talking about getting her back blown out, extremely inappropriate, and it should not be happening. It's sad that, unfortunately, Kanye, I don't know if he is really researching all of his rights, but he really should be fighting this, because this is bullshit. And I don't care what anybody in the world says. Again, she is a 9-year-old child. She should not be listening to this music. Again, I understand that she's in a different scenario than most of us growing up, but it's bullshit that this 9-year-old child is listening to this type of music. What do you think about that, my man?
It definitely is crazy. It is calling into the fact that I'm guessing people don't really know how to parent these days. I think especially in the United States, I think we have such a taboo towards sexuality, but like the whole guns and violence thing with video games, movies, whatever. I think honestly, for the most part, you should probably stop doing it. I remember when the whole thing of, drag queens are reading to children in the library. What's wrong about that? And people were saying, as a counter to that, well, we should stop bringing kids to Hooters for celebrating their good grades. And I'm one of those people that says, don't bring them to either. It's two sexualized institutions that somebody of that young age probably shouldn't be thinking about or even discussing with their adult. If you want to say, oh, okay, well, if they shouldn't, or if you don't want drag queens around libraries, then you shouldn't. Good. Don't bring them to either. Don't bring children to drag shows. Don't bring drag queens to children. Don't bring children into a Hooters. It's inappropriate. And it's stuff like this where it's like, you don't want to be talking about sexuality with your kids, but you've allowed them to listen to such media like this. If you don't want to do this, parent them correctly, which I think is the big issue.
And here's the thing. I get that at a certain point, Kim and Kanye are going to have that talk with North. I get it. That's perfectly fine. But she's 9. She's a 9-year-old child. And here's the biggest thing that I have a problem with. So here's the thing. It's been discussed out there in social media, and it's been brought to a lot of people's attention that Kim's mother basically set up the sex tape between her and Ray J. Was basically trying to make sure that the scenario was best suited so that she can get fame off of it, so on and so forth. Listen to me. Think about that concept. Kim's mother, if this is true, because this is what Ray J said, if it's true, Kim's mother is Kim's pimp. I don't care what the way you put it. She set up a scenario in which Kim was going to financially gain from a sex act, and the mere fact that we're just kind of like, it's not even being discussed. It's just kind of in the general. I don't know. It's insane to me. How can we just let this type of thing go by? And again, I get it. There's nothing that we could really do about it. But that more people are outraged that North is listening to this type of music, that her mother is doing the same thing that Kim's mom did to her, is insane to me. Now I get it. It's not the same degree. There's a huge difference between what Kim's mother did and what Kim is doing to North. But here's the thing. It's a slippery fucking slope. And I don't give a fuck what anybody says about, oh, you can't make those type of arguments. It is a fucking slippery slope. Because again, Kylie was a minor. And she was being sexualized all over social media by her mom. Again, everybody makes a joke that nobody works harder than Kim's mom, that the devil doesn't work harder than Kim's mom, so on and so forth. Because it's true. And I get it. They've made a lot of money, but at what cost? Like, is it worth really your child's innocence? It's a little bullshit to me. And I think that kind of stuff is really sad because, again, I think Kanye, for a gigantic part of what he says, I think he's stupid. And don't get me wrong, great music, blah, 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 blah. But he says a lot of stupid shit. And a lot of people tell me, oh, you just need to think. No, I don't. I've sat there. I've analyzed it. Yes, some things he says are intelligent. Sure. But the dude rambles on too much. The dude doesn't know how to put together a coherent argument. He himself has said, because I'm trying to formulate my argument, I'm pulling from all these things and it just doesn't come out right. So no, don't try to give me that shit. But again, back to the original point. It's sad that a child is being given authority. And let's be honest, probably even encouraged by Kim, because everything they do is for the clout. It's sad that we're letting this kind of shit just go by, because again, a lot of other scenarios where children are being sexualized, everybody loses their shit. But in this instance, we're just like, oh, it's just a TikTok. It's not that big a deal. It's a TikTok where a woman is talking about a sexual act, and North is over here. I don't want to say she was dancing to it, but she's over here appearing in the video and kind of singing along. It's not appropriate. Anything you want to add as far as that, my man?
No, I actually want to shift topics to something stupid that I saw. I want to talk to you, the audience, about general topic of identity. Now, because of what's been going on with transgenderism in the news, of people identifying with whatever gender they want, cool. We're not discussing that bit. We are discussing identity, more specifically, transracial identity. Now, I saw this post on Twitter, and I didn't know how real it was. Could have been a joke, but honestly, with how life is going on these days, reality is outpacing parody at this point. Now, I saw this post by this woman, and she says, due to it being Pride 2022 or 2021, I feel it's safe to come out. Today is the day that I am #transracial. I am now a black woman, and I have successfully went from white to black. And I want to be able to say, I can't say that next word because I do not identify that. But for those of you that are fans of the show Atlanta, you will understand that there is a skit that happened in season 2 where this exact situation had happened. There was a gentleman on there, was black, but chose to identify as a white person and was doing stereotypically white person things, tucked in, pink polo shirt, khakis, with the loafers, golfing, and as I sing to the radio, stereotypically soft thing. But at the end of the day, even the cast members on the show were like, this is ridiculous. You shouldn't be, you're black. You can't go from one race to the other. And this is evident of parody becoming reality. Ridiculous. It's one of those things where identity and wanting to be accepting in today's world, it's getting a little bit out of hand. Let's be real. Don't you think this is a bit ridiculous?
Listen, my man, Dave Chappelle did a whole skit about what if I was a Chinese man, but he was born in his body. You know, it's funny because it's just getting so stupid. Like, that's why our stance is, listen, we will respect whatever you want to do, but we have to come from a point of facts. We have to come from a point of a basis of this is reality, and now we can discuss all the other bullshit. Now, these things, again, I had brought up on one of the previous shows that we had done, the cupcake gender thing, where when someone described what it was to feel cupcake gendered. This thing, transracial. Like, there's so many things. Like, there's always, in every movement, there's always going to be bad actors. And I feel like we've gotten to a point where these people, they're not really wanting to identify with these things. They said, hey, if they can do it, why can't I? And see, that's the problem. That's why the community itself, the transgender community, it's up to you guys as a community to corral these people, to police these people, because if we say something, we're bigots. If it doesn't seem like we align 100% with your beliefs, we're bigots. And again, I have my own beliefs about the transgender community. Again, we will call you whatever you want. We will respect your choice, blah, 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 so on and so forth. But we need to come from a basis of fact no matter what scenario we're coming from. And I think that's the problem, is that it's just gotten to a point so much so that we're just free, willy-nilly, apparently, we can now be transracial. Like, the insanity of it. And again, we all know about Woe Vicky and all that kind of stuff and the stupidity that comes with it. And we all together, as the internet collective, we all laugh. We're like, okay, this is clearly stupid. But people are legit coming out with this thing saying, well, if she can be transracial, why can't I? It's insane to me. It's stupidity. You can't just choose from one day to another to be something completely different. I'm not talking about choosing a career. I'm not talking about deciding to chase a different dream. I'm not talking about changing your shirt. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm talking about just at the basis of fact, we are something. Whatever that thing, however we want to classify that thing, we are something. So to say, I've decided today I'm black, or I've decided today I'm Indian, or I decided today I'm Mexican, whatever it is. In fact, the meme that everybody posts, and I saw plenty on my Facebook about how all the white people on Cinco de Mayo, they're like, oh, happy Cinco de Mayo, and then the next day they're like, well, get the fuck out, get out of our country. Like, it's funny because people and here's the thing, it's a uniquely American thing. That's how stupid it is. It's uniquely American, because I was actually thinking about this earlier when I was thinking about the topic. Think about it. You can't choose to be transracial in another country. You can't choose to be transgender in another country. You can't choose to be all of these things, a feminist, all of these things. You can't choose to. It's a uniquely American problem. Not even just American, but it's a uniquely first world problem. And that's why I think the people, specifically the transgender community, feminists, so on and so forth, you guys need to, and I'm guilty of this myself, appreciate this country more, because you can't be what you are in another country. There's too many countries out here that they don't deal with that shit. It's funny because I was watching something specifically on the topic of transgenderism, and someone was saying, "Look, man, they're not pulling that shit in China. Why?" They're like, "Why do you think China's lapping us and a lot of stuff? They're not having these, stupid discussions we're having over here. Well, we're arguing in Congress, in the House, in the Senate. Oh, how do we deal with transgenderism and blah blah. Well, over there, they're legit just focusing on working, getting shit done, so on and so forth. And listen, everybody knows. Anyone that's heard me talk about it, Chinese people are great. The Chinese government is dog shit. So with that being said, man, we need to start coming as a society, as together as the internet. We need to come together and say, look, okay, we will respect each other, but let's establish these facts. The transracial thing to me is just another insane cog in this insane wheel that we got going on, man. That's my personal take on that bad boy.
I know identity was an especially touchy subject, especially when it comes to race, because we historically have gone into stuff like biracialism, identity across borders, with like historically, at least with Latins, with the Pachucos in California, and them not being able to identify as either white because they're not Mexican, or they're not white because they're Mexican, but not being able to identify with Mexicans because they're in the States. And I think even another point that reminded me of that was the fact that I think somebody asked Logic, because Logic himself was biracial, but he's fairly light-skinned. He says, or I think an interviewer said to him, do you feel personally comfortable with being able to say the N-word? And Logic was like, look, with respect to everybody, I understand people look at me and they see what they see. With respect, I can't do it. Can't do it because I know they're going to think one other way if they see me using the N-word and they automatically think that I'm this person. I think there was also a comedian, I believe his name was Troy Bird, and he was actually talking about, joking about Trump and Biden and all that. And I'm pretty sure there was a drunken person in the audience that was making fun of him, talking how he can't talk politics like that to a crowd of black people. And again, he was light skinned and he was like, lady, I'm like one half Filipino and one half black, and I just came out like this, like fairly light skinned. So identity, I understand, can be a touchy subject like that. But if you have lineage to it, you understandably should have rights to it. But again, you kind of have to play with your own barriers. You kind of have to know what audience playing to. However, stuff like this is ridiculous because you're trying to play to one other side that you have no roots in. You're trying to claim flag in a country that you have no feet in.
And it's not even just that, my man. Like you know, when you are, for example, in this particular, the picture that you showed me was a completely white female claiming she's now transracial. Here's the thing: you're foregoing the struggle, man. You're just here for all the plus and none of the struggle. You know, you just want all the benefit with none of the cons. And I think that's the bullshit. Is like that's why a lot of people get mad at that type of stuff. Is like, yo, you just want to appropriate, which is factually true. Like, how are you gonna diminish everyone's struggle just to a simple color? And that's why I think a lot of this stuff is bullshit. A lot of people, especially even some feminists, are saying the same thing about the transgender movement. Like, how are you gonna appropriate our struggle? I mean, a lot of people are having this issue with Dylan Mulvaney and how he's basically like a caricature of what a woman is, and so on and so forth. But listen, this is just a couple examples of why the internet right now is acting stupid, and that's why we felt we needed to talk about it. Anything else you want to touch on that, my man, before we send off?
I think that's it for me.
All right, with that, again, please like, comment, hate, subscribe, DM us about the bullshit. And with that being said,
until next time, get rest and stay blessed. We'll see you on the next one.